Well, it's the last days of summer and I've learned a lot about second year gardening off my block. In this episode I continue to bring my garden back to life and I'll show you how to make a simple irrigation system. I'm Justin Harnish and this is Off My Block. Now the next thing on the list is the asparagus. That's been good to me this year and I want to continue that for next year. We're going to get rid of all the weeds, see what we've got available there. I'm going to clip most of them down and some of the younger ones we're going to just let fern until next year. Now that the bed is clean and weed free, we're going to see which ones of these we're going to clip off and which ones we're going to just let fern for the year. So let's have a look at these. Now this one here is actually pretty thick. You can see the size of the stem there. So that can be cut out. And it's just getting right down to the base and clipping it with a pair of secateurs. This one here has got really thin stems, you can see. And it's starting to fern already. We're going to let that go so it can be a bit more established for next year. Now this is the second year for most of them, so I can clip out some of the larger stalks as I did before, but some of the plants that I put in here didn't even come up at all, so next spring I'll probably be getting another bunch of asparagus to plant in for the coming years. Now once they're established and they're going good, you can expect 20 years out of them. So when you're picking your plot for your asparagus, make sure it's a good spot. Now once all that's done, to take care of the asparagus further you need to put mulch on it, and that just means one thing for me, I just got to mow the lawns. Throughout the year you want to mulch it 2 or 3 times through winter up until just before spring. Spring is when the first stalks come through. So asparagus spears, apart from the ferns that are coming through, will lie dormant until spring. So what we want to do is just mulch, and that's what the lawn clippings are for. Make sure that the mulch is evenly spread throughout all the asparagus, and then do that a couple of times a year, and by spring everything will be right. I've got a freshly weeded bed here, and what I'm going to do is make a ground cover, or an edible ground cover. So I'm going to broadcast some mesclun and some fancy lettuce, as well as some basil and coriander chucked into the mix, and hopefully we'll get the bed covered and all this edible growth. Now once you finish broadcasting the seeds, just cover it with a thin layer of compost. By now, if you've been following my videos, you should have the very basics of gardening down. Now it's time to talk about irrigation, or the artificial application of water to your garden. Playing Thor with your backyard. There are several different types of irrigation systems out there, ranging from your large plantations down to your 13mm Alcathene pipe and joinery. Within this category you've got misting and trickling, etc., and arguably trickling is the best method, but I'm going to show you how to make put together a simple manual irrigation system using misting. Now the things you're going to need to put this all together, well, the first thing is the pipe. You get this in roughly 3 to 5 metre lengths. You're going to need to use an electric drill, You can use a manual screwdriver, but it gets quite hard. Then you've got the connectors, the joiners, some screws, and your jets. Not to mention some of these little upright capillaries. Now when it comes to the joinery, there's a couple of things you're going to need. The first and foremost is something to clip from the hose to the pipe. That's one of these beasties. It's a fast clip on and off. You're going to need to use some 13mm clamps, and that's to clamp the hose to the joiners. You'll also want to use some of these, which are saddle clamps, and that's to connect the hose or the pipe to wherever it is that you're joining it to. You're also going to need to use a stopper, and that goes at the end of the hose to prevent any water coming out the end. Joints like this is an elbow joint. You can use T or cross depending on how the irrigation system is going to go together. This is pretty much all I'm going to be using. You're also going to need to use these guys here, which are plugs. So if you put if you put these in the wrong place, you can plug it up with this. Simple stuff. So this is the area here which I'm going to be irrigating from the top there right down to the bottom. I'm going to put some different type fittings on. You've got your half circle or half moon and your full moon. Your half moon or half circle is going to spray this way, and the full moon is going to spray that way to cover both these veggies and the carrots. We're out of my mind. 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 Well, that's the basics of setting the hose out. If you wanted to extend it, like take this stopper out, and I can put an elbow in there and extend the pipe down this way and along the other garden there, so I can get more water over there, but that's another time. Next step is to connect the hose up, put some water in here, put some pressure into it, make sure there's no leaks and everything, and then put some wee holes in at places where I want the sprinklers to go. Now the reason I put water in there first is because in the sun this is stretching and warping. When I put water in, it cools it down and puts it into its proper shape. So when I do that and then put the holes in them, and it will spray up, at least I know that next time I put the water through it, it's going to be in exactly the right place. Now when putting holes into the hose, I want to have the first hole no more than 50 mil out from the start, one end, and then 50 mils from the other end. And to be realistic, you want to have the holes about 1200 apart, at least. In this case, I'm going to have from 50 mil each end, and then smack bang in the middle, and that should be about right. Once the hose has been tested and you've put the holes where you want them to be, next step is to get a riser, your hose connector to the riser, and the sprinkler or mister of your choice. Real easy. You've got little screw holes. See that? And that end goes into the hose, and this is obviously the sprinkler end. And then you screw that into the hose. So once you've got the hang of putting the hose in out and the sprinklers in, you can get to a bit more advanced irrigation, and best to draw out a plan of what you want to actually achieve, and then you can employ elbows and stoppers and T's and crosses and all that kind of stuff. In this case, what we've done is put a couple of elbow joints in with the clamps, and the hose actually goes underneath the path to take away any tripping hazards and to make it look better. Well, that's about it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it and got something out of it. Next episode is the last in this series, so it's going to be a little bit special. Now, you can follow me now on Twitter and in Facebook. Both of the links will be in the description box below or on your screen now. If you enjoyed it, please give me a big thumbs up, share it around, and please subscribe to my channel by clicking the link below. And until next time, thank you for watching, and remember, keep calm and garden on.